collage of bears appears on screen. Fat Bear Week logo with text saying how much food fish can bears eat.
Hi everyone, my name is Mike Fitz with Explore.org.
Park ranger
Joining me
and
is Felicia
naturalist appear on
Jimenez, a
screen.
park ranger who works for Katmai National Park in Alaska. Welcome to our video series for Fat Bear Week in the classroom. The questions we are answering were submitted by students in advance, and thanks to everybody who submitted their questions. Hunger is perhaps one of the strongest feelings that people can experience, and I think it's the same for bears. Bears love to eat. They love to eat a lot of food. You might be amazed by the amount of food that a bear can eat per day. And Felicia, we got a lot of questions about that actually. So let's try to understand the hunger of bears. Oliver, who is in second grade at Quarry Hill Elementary, asked, how many salmon do
Text
the
appears on
fattest
screen
bears
and
eat?
says how many salmon do the fattest bears eat?
This is a great question. So bears love salmon and they need to eat a lot of salmon to gain that weight for hibernation. And on average, your typical bear probably catches around 10 salmon per day. But Bear
An older
480 is
adult
a
male
special
bear
bear that we
catches
want
a
to
fish in
highlight
the
in the
river.
Fat Bear Week bracket. He has been recorded for, having 42 salmon within a 5-hour period. And that's a lot of
The same adult
calories,
male
and that's
pounces
going to
and catches
definitely
another
help
fish.
him build the fat reserves and gain the weight needed
Ranger
to
and
survive
naturalist appear
hibernation.
on screen with text reading how many salmon
And
do the
each one of
fattest
those
bears
fish
eat
could
on
weigh
top.
something around like 5 pounds. So you could do the
Mhm.
math and think about how many pounds of salmon he ate in that 5-hour period. Really amazing. Another question related to this comes from Aya, who is in 5th grade at Richardson Elementary. And Aya wonders, do bears suffer if they eat
Text on
too
screen
much?
reads, do
I
bears
feel
suffer
really
if they eat too
uncomfortable if I
much?
eat too much food, but what do we know about brown bears?
So bears, towards the, in fall, when they're getting ready to prep for hibernation, they enter this special state called hyperphagia, which
Bears
means
standing on
they're
top of a
really, really
waterfall while
hungry,
salmon jump.
and the signals in their brain that tell them to stop eating actually don't turn on anymore. So they don't feel full like you and I do. So
Bear
they
catches
keep
fish.
eating and eating and eating
Another
because
bear
they have a
stands on top
limited
of a
amount of
waterfall
time to
and
get
catches a
that
fish.
food. But they take breaks. They definitely take
Ranger
nap
and
breaks.
naturalist appear on
One bear
screen
that we
with
want to
text saying, do
highlight
bears suffer
is
if they eat
Bear
too much?
747. He's a
Bear
big
lays head
bear.
on rock,
He can
sleeping.
catch a lot of fish and eat a lot of fish every day, but he also likes to take lots of naps and has been seen napping on rocks in between meals. So maybe that's a way that bears are dealing with all of the time
Ranger
that
and
they take
naturalist
to
appear
eat.
on screen with text reading, do bears suffer if they eat too much?
And bears feel an incredible hunger throughout the summer, and
Mhm.
especially so in late summer and in early fall. This doesn't explain why they feel so hungry, though. Uh, and,
Mhm.
and, and Dinah, who is in 7th grade at RKMS, asks, why do they need to eat
Text on
so
screen
much food?
reads, why do they need to eat so much food?
That's also a great question. So bears, like we discussed a little bit earlier, they go into this state called hyperphagia, right? So they're not feeling very full and they're really, really hungry,
A
but
large
they
bear
need
eats
to be
salmon in a
hungry
river.
because they only have a short amount of time to eat the food that they need before hibernation. So they come out of hibernation in the spring, and they have spring, summer, and a little bit of fall to
Ranger and
gain all the
naturalist
weight
back
they
on
need
screen with text
through the
reading, why do they
winter.
need
So
to eat so
during
much
that
food
time
on
in the
top?
winter, they're not eating, they're not drinking, they're not going to the bathroom. So all of the energy and water that they need to make it through hibernation, they have to get by eating all of that food during that short amount of time, that 6-month period of time to gain fat. And then they live off of those fat reserves in the den. And moms, especially mother bears, have an even higher stake. One bear that we want to highlight is Bear 402.
A mother
She's the
bear cuddles
bear
with
in
her
Brooks
spring
River that
cub.
has had the most amount of litters out of any bear on the river. She's our most experienced mom. And females, especially, have a pretty high stake because females and bears have delayed implantation, which means that the amount of fat that they build in the
A mother
summertime
bear nurses
is
her
going
cub.
to affect if they get to have cubs or not. If they don't gain enough, fat, then they're not able to sustain any of the embryos that are implanted in their uterus.
Ranger and
So
naturalist
it
appear on
can,
screen with
affect
text
whether
reading
or
why they
not
need to
they
eat so
have
much food on
cubs
top.
later on in the winter when they're in hibernation.
So bears need to get fat to survive, and hunger is
Mm-hmm.
perhaps one of the strongest feelings that people can experience, and I think it's the same for bears. Well, thanks for listening, everybody, and be sure to check out our other videos for Fat Bear Week in the classroom and watch the bears of Katmai on live webcams at explore.org/bears.
Text on the top of the
Finally,
screen
if you
reads
are a teacher,
explore.org
then
and
along with watching this program, be sure to check
nps.gov/katm.
out the extension activities on Katmai's website at nps.gov/katm.